Hello, and welcome to another entry to the History of series. Instead of covering the Daleks as per my usual programming, I thought why not cover someone very much linked to them, Abslom Daak, the Dalek Killer. So, without further ado, let's begin. Born on Earth in the 26th century, Daak led a rough life. Early in his life, he knew a woman named Celine. Together they were business partners with Volmer Curious, defrauding pan-galactic shippers of 4 billion. However, Daak was betrayed when Volmer Curious ran away, taking the money and Celine with him. The memory of Celine ate away at Daak's soul, turning him into a killer. By the end, Daak noted that he hated everyone but her. At some point, Daak had been a knight of the Grand Order of Oberon. Daak was convicted of 23 charges of murder, pillage, piracy, massacre, and other crimes too horrible to bring to the public attention. At the close of his trial, he was given the choice between death by vaporization or exile as a Dalek killer. Not wishing an early death, he chose the latter. Out of a selection of many weapons, his choice was his trusted chainsword. Daak was informed that he was expected to live little more than 2 hours, and cut his guiding robot in half before jumping through the transport. Daak was transported to the primitive planet of Mazam in the Dalek Empire, the humanoid rulers of which appeased the Daleks occupying their world. He destroyed a Dalek task force single-handedly and rescued Princess Taiyin, with whom he fell in love. Taiyin decided to strike out against her masters. She was killed by a Dalek survivor that Daak had overlooked, leaving Daak grief-stricken and vowing to exterminate every Dalek in the galaxy. During his travels, Daak was often followed closely by Bonaparte de Vise, who had a fascination with Dalek artifacts and would collect those left behind by Daak's adventures. Daak did not think very highly of the man, at one point calling him the pepperpot pervert. Daak found satisfaction in discovering that the Daleks he hunted would recognise and flee from his presence. Indeed, many said that Daak was one of the first people to make a Dalek feel total fear upon seeing him. With Taiyin's body alongside him in cryogenic suspension and hopes that medical technology might one day revive her, Daak joined with the draconian Prince Solander, Volmer Curious, and an ice warrior called Harmer. Daak found Harmer in a sort of murder emporium, which was designed for people who would pay to be killed. They travelled the galaxy together in a small ship known as the Kill Wagon. He continued to kill Daleks, often only armed with an energy pistol and his own personal chainsword. Fond of the bottle, Daak remained a tough-talking ruffian, almost psychotically eager for battle. Eventually, he met the 7th Doctor on the planet of Hell, after the Kill Wagon had crashed there while investigating Dalek activity. He thought his fellow Star Tigers had died in the crash. They discovered the Daleks were mining a deadly gas, Helcogen, out of the planet for Operation Genocide, taking it up to an orbital Dalek death wheel to build a genocide machine. Daak sacrificed himself by flying a captured Dalek hovercraft into the wheel's reactor core, destroying the wheel and the Daleks' plans. However, Daak was plucked out of time just before his moment of death by a Dalek faction led by the Supreme Dalek, intending to use him to locate and lead the 7th Doctor into a trap. Eventually, he discovered that he had been tricked, and aided the Doctor's companion Beneath Summerfield, yet another native of the 26th century left without parents by the Daleks, and his old allies, who he learned had survived the crash, in defeating the Daleks once more. On Spiridon, Daak attacked Davros's chair with his chainsword, crippling him. With help from Benny, Daak got over his fixation with Taiyin, replacing it with a crush on her. Despite this source's suggestion that Daak had left his former love behind emotionally and literally, Daak was later seen to still be travelling with her capsule during his travels. Daak received an invitation to come to Cheldon Boniface on April 24, 2010, for Bernie Summerfield and Jason Kane's wedding, but, perhaps fortunately for all concerned, he turned it down, stating he hadn't killed every Dalek in the galaxy yet. On the planet Phaestar Osiris, Daak tried, without luck, to flirt with Sarah Jane Smith while she visited the world with the 4th Doctor. At one point, Daak knew of a time agent. During their final meeting, the pair got in a fight, which ended with the agent's arm being cut off and taken by Daak, including his vortex manipulator. After the end of the Time War, Daak suddenly became frustrated with the discovery that there were little to no Daleks left in the universe to kill or seek revenge on. Daak became a regular at Clondanius 11, where he would often get into bar fights. Daak eventually became known as a fighter with many names, such as the Destroyer and the Pitless Terror, and would become very irritated at the mere mention of Daleks. On one occasion, he eviscerated 20 Vervoids for looking at him funny, which was ironic since the Vervoids were not creatures known to have eyes. After years of not seeing a single Dalek, Daak decided that he had to move on with his life, taking up his former occupation of a murdering assassin, taking up a job to bring the Doctor to judge for a trial. Using his vortex manipulator, Daak tracked down the 11th Doctor and occupied his TARDIS. Daak threatened the Doctor and his companions. In response to this, the TARDIS hid Taiyin within its structure. Daak was then forced to join the Doctor in his quest to discover who killed the Cyclaws. During this adventure, Daak was shot by the Squire after the Volitix insider awoke, turning her against the Doctor and his friends. Daak managed to stumble to his feet and deliver an attack to the Squire, but due to Daak's weakened state, the Squire was able to dodge the attack and shot him once more. Daak saw a vision of Taiyin, who hooked him up to a machine that sealed his wounds. He then exited the TARDIS on a speeder and ran over the Squire. The Doctor then granted Daak his greatest wish, and used the then and the now to send him into the last Great Time War, where he could slay Daleks to his heart's content. When the cyborg hacker Psy was attempting to protect Clara Oswald from the Teller, he ensured that it would only focus on his guilt by uploading the memories of some of the worst criminals in history, one of them being Abslom Daak. A cryogenically frozen Daak was revived by Ace in 2573. Ace thought of him as the only Daak, and, with Benny, tried to stop him from dying because, thinking him the real, original Daak, and not a clone, they knew that Daak would die on Hell. He was killed while saving Ace from the Gestalt intelligence named Pool. At least one of Daak's ancestors was also a criminal, and, in 2009, was found guilty by Intersol for crimes against New Devonia. And that is the story of Abslom Daak, the Dalek Killer, by far one of the most interesting characters in all of Doctor Who, being so powerful that even the Daleks feared him, just like the Doctor. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below so you're notified when more videos come out. But, as always, thanks for watching.